How y'all doing? What's up, man? Hope you guys are having a wonderful Wednesday. Let's see what's going on now. Any fun things you guys did today? Awesome. Thank you for joining Be Great, Good to Great. We got Tayo in. So excited for today. What's up, Dean? What's up, Don? What's up?
What's going on? How are you?
I'm
We're
amazing.
here.
Ready for this live, man.
Yes, yes. I truly appreciate the opportunity
Oh, you
to
got it, Tayo. You
be
got
on
it.
this platform you created, man.
You got it. You got it. So, for everyone who doesn't know what this is, if you haven't tuned in yet, this is Be Great, That's a Great series where we're highlighting people in their own walks of life, letting them be, they're being great. So, they're highlighting their careers, what they do, how they got there, their journey, also to inspire, to help you to share opportunities, especially within the African American community. So, we got Tayo. How I met Tayo is actually through CDE.
Shout out Colin.
Yeah, so we met in Antigua, it's a travel group. What is it? The most inclusive, all inclusive. I think is his motto right now. He
Mm-hmm.
brings hundreds of pretty much young,
Black
successful black,
professionals.
yeah, professionals to Antigua. He's from Antigua, so that's how we met and we connected. He does some awesome things. So Ty, I'm gonna let you kind of introduce yourself, give us like your age, where you're from, and what you do.
So my name is Tayo Kuku Jr. I go as Tayo Jr. I'm 26 years old. I was born and raised in Lagos, Nigeria, and I moved to the United States when I was 6 years old. Um, I'm the eldest of four, with a 9 year gap between me and my next brother. But it's been an exciting journey from going through school here, being raised abroad, going through school here to now being like I don't even call myself a young adult anymore, just an adult now, and
Yep, yep.
in this world, in this life. Um, but I actually studied civil engineering at Drexel University, graduated in 2016 with my civil and architectural engineering degree. And over the years, I've developed and worked on my passion, which is photography, which is something that I'm now looking to pursue, more seriously as a full-time profession.
Hmm. So you're pretty much like a hybrid entrepreneur, right? Like you have still your 9 to 5 in the engineering space, and you have photography.
Yes, 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 yes. A lot of people think that I'm already a full-time photographer, and that
That's
is
what I
not the case. Yeah, that is not the case. I'm honored. I received that blessing. I speak into existence. It's definitely coming soon. But as of now, I definitely still have my full-time job as an engineer,
Okay.
nine to
And where
five.
where do you live right now?
I'm based in Washington, D.C. I um, lived a couple of places. Obviously, went to school in Drexel, which is in Philly. I'm from New Jersey originally, so that's where I grew up. That's where originally Newark, New Jersey, and then family now lives in Princeton, which is more central. So I went from North Jersey to more central Jersey. But then after college, I moved to Maryland, right outside of DC, Montgomery County.
Hmm.
This little town um, called Shady Grove.
Okay.
And then about 2.5 years ago now, that's when I moved to DC, where I currently reside. And I love it
Yeah.
here. I love it.
Got it. You said how long have you been there for?
I've been in DC since August, September of 2018.
Okay.
Yeah, 2018. So 2 years.
Uh-oh. Somebody
Or
already popped into the comments, said, Tyler, your work is amazing. You inspire where I want to work. I'm
uh,
trying to trend towards. Kyle.
thank you, thank you. I appreciate that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So
Yeah,
how did you get from
appreciate that.
engineering to photography?
Question of the hour.
Yeah.
So I was in school 5 years as civil engineering undergrad. Engineering, it was definitely a very trying major to pursue.
Hmm.
I loved the math. Part of the reason why I chose engineering is because I loved math. I was good at math in high school, and then getting to college, things obviously took off at a much different rate, a much
Hmm.
more rapid, accelerated rate. And I caught on. Obviously, I graduated. Glory be to God. But over the years, I just needed something to be my release. So before college, before high school, I always had a very big affinity for art. I used to draw, and that stopped over the years. Like by middle school, I stopped that, and I just always just viewed different things in life like
Hmm.
differently, like framing them in my mind. And when like late middle school, high school came around, the iPhone came out. I really wanted that, mostly because that would be a way of me for taking photographs.
Hmm.
That didn't, I didn't end up getting an iPhone until like I was 17, 16, 17, which was um, right, was going into college. So 17, sorry, 17 is 18 going to college.
Hmm.
That's when I got my first iPhone, and I started with iPhone photography, which they back then was called like iPhonography. And the body of my work was really just cityscapes, architecture, which is also part of why I chose engineering because I love buildings. I loved just um, more of the design side of construction. So started with that. I was doing a lot of stuff in Philly because beautiful buildings in Philly, especially old
Hmm.
city Philly. So I started doing a lot of photographs there, and after a while, I started just to transition into street photography.
Gotcha.
So while I was in school, I would just dip class for not dip class after class. I would dip into Center City, which is right next to campus, and just go on photo walks, taking photos of people, taking photos of architecture I would see, taking photo of graffiti, anything, just shooting, just
So it was
shoot
like
to
a cool
shoot.
hobby for you to do too.
Exactly. It
Like,
was a hobby. Exactly. Exactly. And then on my 21st birthday, I got my first actual DSLR,
hmm.
which is what most people see when I have a camera in my hand. And that's when I started getting into more portrait photography and like blogger photography. Linked up with, Morgan from CDE.
Hmm.
She was one of the first people I shot. Coco Maurice, ET's sister. That's another one of my first muses. And after that, the rest is just history. It just started to take off. I started to learn more, started to practice more, started to pick up different techniques of how to shoot and what it meant to really be a photographer. I started to work on my style to make my own unique style. And just day by day, now I'm where I am.
Did you do all
So
this learning like yourself? Were you self-taught, or like did you use a program, or did you have like a mentor? Who taught you all this stuff?
yes, so Instagram was my biggest resource for inspiration.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie, early on, I would see photos that I'd be fascinated by, and I think how I was able to really teach myself was, okay, how did this person get this photo?
Hmm.
Um, so I would see a certain type of edit, and I'll try to recreate that in my work. Try
Okay.
to build, and I would, follow a bunch of different photographers that did, only landscapes, photography that did only portraits, photography that did only like nature, just different types of photos, different types of editing techniques.
Hmm.
I picked that up and I try to build my skill set by trying to recreate that from people that inspired me and that I looked up to. And YouTube was a big resource. But yeah, for everything I know, it was all self-taught.
So you don't have like a current mentor that kind of helps you with photography and that like tells you about different shots or things.
I wish I did. I nowadays I won't say I have a mentor, but I definitely ask for critique um, in in the opinions of photographers that I admire and I respect. But as for a mentor, no, I never try to think before, everyone comes back to me like, yo, um,
Has anybody asked you to like mentor them? Like, hey, I want to get into
yeah,
photography. I want to do this. And like, so what's your process of that? Like, do you just like, okay, take photos and then like, I'll tell you what's good or bad? Like, I know, I don't, it's photography is so subjective, right?
yeah, it's very subjective. Hold on, I just saw we got 511 people in here. That's kind of crazy. That's wild.
They want to hear your story, Tyler.
So sorry, repeat the question. I got sidetracked there for a second.
I just said photography is like so subjective, right? And if
Yeah.
people want you to be like their mentor, how would you mentor somebody in photography? Like, what?
Yeah. And that's something I'm still trying to actually figure out. So for a couple people that, have asked me to become a mentor, it's been more so like, what do you want to learn? What do you want to know? Because I don't have it all figured out. So I can't put myself on this pedestal kind of like of being a teacher when I'm still a student.
Mm-hmm,
I'm still working on perfecting things that I know I need to work on within my craft. But
mm-hmm.
obviously, for the few people that I have had under my wing, I don't even consider it really a mentorship. I think I consider it more of um, just learning together, learning and growing together. I invite people to come to my shoots and watch how and why I craft my photos the way I do, why I take certain shots, why I have the model do certain things, why I'm doing something that might technically, by actual photography, technicalities might be wrong,
Mm-hmm.
but I know what I'm going to do to correct or compensate for whatever adjustments I'm making. So those are the kind of things I try to teach people when they're out there, like in the field shooting with me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I think like the basis of what I would be mentoring is just shooting and getting
Okay.
comfortable behind the camera, composition, lighting, all of that.
And so I know you've done shots with like very famous people, but for me, right, with like a business background, I'm like, all right, if I get into photography, like, how am I going to make money? How am I going to monetize, right? So like, how does that work? Like,
Hmm.
when you first got into it, it seems like it was more of a passion thing for you. But how are you like, you know what? I want to do this full time. I want to get away from my full time career. What's the shift in your mindset to like think about how can I pursue this and make money?
That's definitely still something I'm working through, but for me, making that shift was realizing that my current job, my current position, it's not feeding me at all, especially mentally and emotionally. It's combating with who I want to be and who I want to grow to become. And beyond that, I've just been a person where I know what I want and I go and get it.
Mm-hmm.
So with regards to monetizing my photography, it all has to be strategic. I've had multiple people come up to me and be like, yo, you can do this. You've got this, just take that jump. And they're right. I do need to take that jump, but I also need to be smart and know, how to really go about making that transition.
Mm-hmm.
I'm um, someone that likes to plan. I like to have things organized. If I do this, these are the things that I have to have in place before I can transition comfortably. Obviously, I will never get to that point where I'm 100% comfortable,
Mm-hmm.
but there are some allowances I have to make and some adjustments that need to be in place
Right.
before any type of drastic change can happen. Because I mean, even look at the times that we're in right now with Corona.
Yep.
This is kind of like I guess I could share this now. I had some things in place to leave and take that jump into the next career lane before all this happened, and I felt like I was kind of rushing it,
Mm-hmm.
but lo and behold, now if I did make that jump, I would be in a position where I would be struggling a lot more than I had planned to.
Right.
And it's just a patience. I'm in a season of patience where I feel like I'm just learning. God is just trying to teach me to be
Mm-hmm.
patient and wait on His timing. And it's gonna come. I have faith and I have confidence in myself, but it's all step by step, making sure that I'm making the right decisions to get to where I want to go.
And your photos are like amazing. I don't even know, like, I feel like I don't have, it's that whole vision, the directing and everything else, right? So you can go somewhere, I can take my iPhone 11 and be like, cool, I can shoot something cool, but like you have like this eye, this knack for things. I feel like also when it comes to the editing and everything else, like,
Mm-hmm.
do you just go somewhere and you're like, you know, this is the vision, this is what I want. You two sit here, like, and I know it's been tough to like. I know we were talking about trying to share photos, but if you guys can just go to his page, it's tagged down there, but just look at all the photos that he's done with just people in general. It's just like it's mind blowing. People don't take photos like that.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. So for the large portion of my work, most of them are formulated with concept, directed, and produced, most of them. So when I do that, it all starts with the location. That's, I think, one thing that made my photography or makes my photography kind of captivating is the locations I choose. They need to have a certain aesthetic. They need to have to be at a certain level of beauty as well as uniqueness for them to really attract me to shoot there.
Mm-hmm.
Starts with the location, then moves on to styling. I've worked with a bunch of very, very talented stylists that I'm blessed to have in my Rolodex, and that list is still growing, but styling and location really puts everything together. Using that, and that's how I start to build the color schemes and color for schematics that I want in my photography. That truly affects the editing, affects the toning that I use in my photos. Obviously, there's some shoots where I have no control over that, where it's just, I have to deal with where I am and just
Mm-hmm.
compensate and make the most of what it is. There have been times when some shoots just have not panned out to be how I plan them to be.
Mm-hmm.
Things just don't work out. The lighting is not what I want it to be, and things don't work out. But part of photography is compensating for that and finding ways you can adjust and make things work in the end.
Got it. So we got a comment that says, "Do you?" Well, it's more so just like a regular statement, but it says, "Now is a good time to shoot the before and after photos, focusing on spaces where life isn't present anymore because of quarantine." Have you been doing that at all?
Someone just let the cat out the bag. I don't know who that was, but
That was
let
my
the
mom,
cat out the
actually.
bag. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had that idea when I was, well, my job, since we're essential workers, I had to still work for a couple of days going into the office. And for those of you that are familiar with DC, I drive by a National Mall and it was just completely empty. That's when I had the idea, like, it'd be cool to, take a photo before and after of like, before quarantine and then wait a couple months, after everything's settled, all the dust is settled to take another photo. So thanks, Mom. You let everyone know already.
Okay, we have another question from Jersey G22. Do you have any tips for new photographers or editing tips?
Oh, tips for new photographers. What I always say is shoot, 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 and then shoot some more. Um, that's really how I was able to learn, I believe, so quickly, is
Mm-hmm.
putting myself in positions to fail, to, well, not fail, but to not come up with what I wanted to, and use that drive and passion to really correct that for the next time.
Mm-hmm.
You have to put yourself in positions to succeed, and the best way to do that is by trying, trial and error. With my editing, I have definitely come a long way. Looking back now, I look back at photos when I first started. I'm like, that was garbage. But at the moment, it felt like it was everything. And I
Mm-hmm.
still remember those like different phases where I finally got an editing technique down that I was trying to emulate of someone else's. Obviously now I took those bits and pieces to make it into my own. There's nothing wrong with trying to with the seeing someone that you inspire and or that inspires you and trying to mimic how they got that photo.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm not saying go out and just steal someone's style. I'm saying that's how I learned. I learned how different artists and how different photographers did their toning, and
Mm-hmm.
using those techniques I was able to transfer that into my own routine and my own process to be able to create and craft my own unique style to the point where people see a photo and they're like, "Oh, Tile, is this yours?" And even if it's not, like they just know I can associate different styles of photos with me, which is
Got it.
a success in my opinion.
Got it. So we
Yeah.
got another question from Amoko. How do you go about determining what do you charge for which jobs, and how do you respond to clients that don't understand all that goes into your work and therefore disagrees with your prices?
Oof. Oof. So that's definitely something I learned the hard way. I definitely started by trying to compare my rates with photographers I knew that I was at the same level at,
Mhm.
making my rates commensurate to that. And over the years, as my clientele grew and as the tier of my clientele grew, I definitely adjusted my pricing accordingly. I am a firm believer that you should never sell yourself short, you
Mhm.
know. And where I said that I learned the hard way is that there were a lot of times when I first started where I knew that the price I was charging was fair. And because I felt the pressure from a client, I would lower that price to accommodate someone else for services that I was providing, which is
Mhm.
completely backwards.
Mhm.
You should know your worth with reason. Don't go out there starting to charge $1,000 an hour when all you're doing is taking a photo, doing some light adjustments, and sending it off. You
Mhm.
know the process that you're putting through your work. You know the time it takes into the photos you produce. Use that to justify whatever cost you're putting out. And that's what I go by. And if a client now doesn't agree with that, I'm sorry. There's more time for me on my free hands to learn or perfect something else, go work on another project. So it's having faith and trust in yourself. Now that's with client photography on like a model photographer basis. When you're working with companies, you definitely want to also just think about the type of company you're working for. Look at the scale and scope of the work that they're trying to hire you for and think about, okay, how long is this going to take me? When do they need this by? What are the time constraints? What's the level of retouching or editing that will be required for this project? And then just look at also at, the capital that companies would have. If I'm doing something for Google, of
Mhm.
course I'm gonna charge them a lot differently than a small business that's out here in DC trying to get their ground up. So it's all about just analyzing the situation. There's no one size fits all answer for that.
Got it. Okay. So we got another question. How did you connect with celebrity clients?
Oh, first celeb I shot. So obviously there have been quite a few that I've worked with, but the first one I think I really got was David O. And it's a funny story. Was I came back from a trip to Spain. I'll try to make it short. I came back from a trip to Spain. I was going home to see my mother because it was her birthday during that trip, and I didn't get to see her. I was started headed out the door, and I didn't carry my camera bag. This was on a Friday going into a Saturday. So for some reason, I just turned back, went and got my camera bag because my mom, Nigerian mother, on her birthday, she wants photos. Come on, shoot my picture now. So got my camera bag, got home to Jersey. The next morning, Saturday, was Made in America,
Mhm.
in Philly, and I had no intention of going to that at all. But someone sent me a tweet of David O's manager asking like, "Yo, anyone in Philly, come. We need a photographer for his show." I'm in Jersey, so I'm an hour away. I was like, what do I have to lose? I started tagging the manager on a bunch of my posts. He saw my tags, reached out like, "Yo, come up," and from
Wow.
there, from that opportunity, I was able to make the most of that opportunity. They really liked what I produced for them that day when it turned into a tour with David O during his American tour. This was in 2018.
Mhm.
It turned into an American tour. Um, and from there on, it was, I was just using that leverage of David O. That turned into me shooting with WizKid. Now I have WizKid and Davido, which are African artists, and I really wanted to get into, the more commercial American artist side of things. So it's just being very strategic and, just leveraging every concert opportunity I can get. Once people saw what the work I've done for certain people, they were more willing to give me credentials for other events because they knew now that, okay, this guy knows what he's doing. And from one thing to another. You know, each opportunity I would just try and um, leverage and network with the people that I was work that were bringing me on,
Mhm.
and you know, keeping them close. They would keep me in the loop of opportunities that came up, and just things like that. That's how I've been able to grow the portfolio of artists that I've worked with.
Wow.
Like, but then there are times like Megan Thee Stallion, which that was at Summer Jam, but
Hmm.
I was with David. I was with David O. Did his set. I was shooting for him, but she was in the booth next to David. I heard her voice, and I was nervous. Like I was shaking. I was shaking, shaking, shaking. Like really. And the manager was like, you know, go. What do you have to lose? And I popped in. Just asked her, hey, can I get a couple shots? Nervous as anything, but you know, I knew that that was a once in a lifetime opportunity, and that was like really when she was on the rise that she's the remarkable rise that she's had, and with that again, more exposure with higher tiered artists, you know,
Hmm.
provides for more opportunities.
That was kind of like your underlying thing, right? It's like, I'm gonna put myself out there, I'm gonna do it. I'm confident in my abilities. What do I have to lose, right? The worst they're gonna say is no or not reach out.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. So, like I said, you just have to put yourself in positions to win and make the most of every opportunity. Um, if I, you know, didn't take down people's contacts when I met them and just cold call or cold text like, hey, you know, I see this event's coming up. I would love to shoot that.
Hmm.
You know, if you have the opportunity and the agency to do so, I would love for you to bring me on. And one thing is that you can't let money be the driving force. That's one thing that I've learned. I think that's helped me is that I don't lead with finances and money. I
Hmm.
lead with my passion driving me to do these things. I love to shoot photography, something I love to do. I
Hmm.
don't see it as I don't see it as a chore or a task. So with that, it makes everything else easier. You know, even when I'm on a job that I don't really care for, I'm
Hmm.
still doing what I love. So the quality of my work, the passion shows through in the quality of the work.
I
Um,
appreciate y'all asking these questions too. This is awesome because Tyler's
oh
dropping
my
gems.
goodness,
So we do have a comment that says, "What's one tip or advice you have for clients who approach you to work or collaborate?"
what's one tip? Um, One thing that just popped in my mind is know why you're hiring me. There have been too many times when I've been hired seemingly because someone likes my style and I produce the work that they want, and then they ask me to do things that contradict who I am and the work I produce.
Mm-hmm.
You know, why are you hiring me? What do you want? Know exactly what you want, because a lot of people, they don't know what they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So even when I ask the right questions, because they don't know what I'm talking about really, when I produce what we agreed on, it's something different than what they had pictured in their mind.
Got it.
So it's something I need to work on as someone that's client facing, is, you know,
Mm-hmm.
also really getting to know what these clients want and adjusting for the fact that they don't know what they don't know,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, compensating for that so I can really give them the best quality product and save myself time from rounds and rounds of revisions and editing. But it would be a great help to know why you're hiring a photographer, and only hire a photographer and artist whose style you like for your work, you know, because I honestly think of it as kind of hurtful for me to, obviously I know that some projects are not going to require the type of style that I put into that I use for my work. Obviously, you know, a portrait headshot is not going to be the same as a portrait editorial. So obviously I'm compensating for that. But at the same time, there has to be some understanding that I'm going to shoot and take these photos and edit them to my style. So are you okay with that before you edit? I mean, before you come and try to, you know, make an agreement with me for photography.
So we got some more comments. Yeah, Nay, I was thinking the same things. Like, I'm assuming he's talking about I think we always say call him DeVito, but I guess that's definitely the wrong
No,
thing.
it's definitely Davido. Davido.
Great. Definitely the
Yeah, not
mispronunciation.
Davido, not Davido, Davido.
And then Flash by Henry said, love your work, continued success, great tips on the photography
Much
business.
love.
Looks like Uncle Scooty said, with technology vastly improving, has the value of a good photographer decreased?
I was just talking about that with someone, about how technology is really on the come up, and how I don't know if, real photographer, if photographers are going to be of need anymore. But for me, what I, in that conversation, conclusion I came to is that, yes, now you're seeing like these iPhone FaceTime photo shoots, like Zoom photo shoots in this period of lockdown that we're in. But one thing that can never be automated, one thing that can never be replicated is the editing style and the editing technique. I just don't think that, at least, I don't know, technology, like you said, is definitely rapidly increasing and improving. But I just feel like a person's touch on a photo is just something that's unique to that person. Obviously, you can use presets, you can use different, the word slipping my mind right now, but you can use different presets on photos and have them be monotonous. But I don't do that. I don't think any true photographer does that. It's just slap on a preset and send it off. He really looks at the photo and what makes that photo what it is. And no computer, no device, no app can ever truly take that very, very significant part out of photography.
Yeah, I think the only way I learned about saturation and contrast is through my editing on Instagram.
Hey, that's how it started. That's how everyone starts. I definitely was using Instagram's filters, especially. Yeah. So, but after a while, I was like, yo, these are disgusting.
Mr. is trash. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got some more questions. So, do you require a shot sheet before you do a job? And I need to know. I don't even know what a shot sheet is. So you
Okay.
have to explain that to me. Or do you usually just go with the flow?
It depends if I'm the one like putting the shoot together, if I'm being hired for a shoot. So I'm assuming they're asking about me being hired for a shoot. For like projects, like one of the last photos I edited with the like the cowboy in the all white, there was no shot sheet for that. I was just a stylist, photographer, makeup artist, location, studio, and an overall vibe that the client had, that she had for her music rollout. So I took that and formulated my own shot sheet in my head. That's the same thing with most of the shoots that I produce and put together myself. I have the locations, so I already know the places I want to touch in that location for my shots. That's for having a specific shot, not necessarily. And then there are other clients who say for a clothing brand launch, there are specific shots that they need. They need a shot from the side. They need a shot from front facing. They need a shot with specific details being included. And those shot sheets, they definitely help craft the shoot. They make them flow easier because the direction is already there. But for shoots where I provide the direction, that's something that I have to think of on the spot.
So is that like
or prepare for a little bit, but mostly there's no shot sheet for that.
So the shot sheet, literally just like a sheet where it's like we're shooting in these locations.
Oh, sorry, I didn't explain. So a shot sheet, it has specific shots that the client needs.
Okay.
Like specific actual shots that they need for the rollout. So like that's why I use the example of a fashion line launch. For a shot sheet, he first needs product shots, just a product laid flat, clean, minimal editing product shots. Then he needs shots with the product on the model in certain different angles, certain shot in certain ways. So the shot sheet details all the shots that are required for a specific project or event. In terms of an event, they want shots of group shots. They want solo shots. They want shots framed in a certain way, shots in certain orientations. So that's exactly what a shot sheet is.
Got it. So on the topic of getting to know what clients want, how do you know when to cut a project off?
Yikes, man. So cut a project off. once it's already started or
I'm
before?
assuming that's what it means. Like maybe they're just not getting what
Uh,
you want, and so or maybe you're wasting your time. Maybe.
um, there's one situation in which I was approached for a shoot, and there was a well, not a shot sheet, but there were certain shots that he wanted, and I told him that for all the shots you want, this is gonna be the rate, and he couldn't, you know, that was not in his budget, so I told him the rate that I'd be comfortable with for less than the shot sheet listed. And long story short, things just didn't work out between him and I. And in that situation, I always offer the option of getting a full refund, or after I've started the work, it'll be a partial refund because I've already spent my time shooting.
Mm-hmm.
So I gave him the option of a partial refund, and have him have all the raws, which is any photographer knows is definitely not something that's ever on the table because no one wants their raw photos out there because it doesn't show the level and the caliber of a photographer. So like again, it's just not all that to say it's a case by case scenario. I've never personally started a project and not produced at least something for the clients. There have been one or two instances, where things had to be revised
Mm-hmm.
and, the agreement had to be adjusted afterwards. But for the most part, I usually try to see out a project or any type of commission that I have because my reputation lies solely in the hands of the clients I work with.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, clients, client and customer service is of such importance to me, and I do my best to always make sure that the client's leaving happy or
Mm-hmm.
satisfied. Um, so that's how I would uh, approach those situations.
You're just getting tons of like praise in these comments, man. You are you. That's your superpower. Teo, your work really inspired me. I'm also into music photography. I pay to go for the shows. I'm totally driven by passion. Keep
I
killing,
appreciate it,
bro.
man.
I'm ready for these
Much
gems.
love, much love,
You can see
much
people are
love.
following you, trying to take tips, trying to see what's going on in your life. So I guess it
Yeah.
kind of leads into this next thing is like, what would you like to be your lasting legacy, right? With photography, or maybe not just photography at all, but like, what do you want people to remember you for?
Um, for my devotion, for my passion, for my desire to continually lift and raise that bar,
Mm-hmm.
continually push that bar. It's not easy all the time, trying to craft these different visual diaries, as I call them. But with each piece and project I put out, that is a fully formulated idea and concept, I definitely try to make sure that it's as groundbreaking as possible. It's something that's different, something that pushes me as an artist, something that pushes me as a photographer. I definitely want my work to be timeless. I guess that'll be the legacy, to have my work be pieces that are used as examples to teach whoever, pursues photography as either a major or something they go to school for. I would just love to be an example unto
Mm-hmm.
others, and just most of all inspire and motivate people to create those mood boards, to edit those mood boards, to include my work and projects in those mood boards.
Awesome. As I'm looking over here, I'm actually writing these things down because a lot of
Oh,
stuff you're saying, you're dropping a lot of quotes, you're dropping a lot of gems, a lot of stuff that you've already done. So it's going to be all uploaded to a website where pretty much people can see your interview and also just like, reach out to you if they have questions or, hire you to use you because you're
yes,
awesome. So
hire me.
what other like programs do you use for like editing and for shooting? I know you said you had a DSLR, uh,
Yes.
but what else do you use as a photographer to like edit your photos or programs that you use that you can share to like the people listening right now?
So my workflow is a mix of Adobe Lightroom and Adobe Photoshop. For Lightroom, I do all of my color grading, color correction. Well, some of my color correction in Lightroom, getting basically the base photo
Mm-hmm.
in Lightroom. And then in Photoshop is where I really go in and go in on details, going on retouching, you know, clearing up the skin, making certain tones brighter, certain colors darker, and really, you know, really modifying and chiseling away at the edges to make the final product. So Adobe Lightroom, Adobe Photoshop, and then I transfer to my phone because obviously nowadays a lot of people look and view my work on my phone, on their phones, via Instagram, via my website. So I want to make sure that what I'm seeing on my computer matches, you know, on a phone screen to make it as captivating to get the message through. If not, then I go back to the drawing board and, you know, really just tweak it things until it's all crisp into my liking.
Would you say you're a perfectionist?
Absolutely. 1,000%. My OCD is through the roof, even in life, not even just not in photography. I like things spick and span, certain things, certain places. You know, if I see one photo that I posted already on Insta and I see I missed something, you know, I'll delete it. No matter how many people have commented, how many people have liked it, I'll delete it, edit it, repost it, or if it's gone for months, I'll just delete it or archive it to my page because I just feel like me as a photographer, I know I pay attention to details on other people's work and see things that I would be like, oh, I wish, you know, I would have done this differently, or I wish he did this, you know. So I know that there are other photographers who are also picking away at my work, you know, the nitty gritty details. And me being, you know, the perfectionist I am, I definitely don't want to have too. Obviously, people are always going to have opinions, but on the technicalities and on things that should not be there, that I know should not be there, I definitely don't want to have. I don't want to leave any room for error.
That's awesome. So I guess on that point too, what's like, I know you're talking about doing the shoots like now during quarantine, but like, what's your goal and like, what's your mission? And I know on your Instagram, right, you talk about curating photos that show a lot of emotion. Like, so yeah, what is your mission? What's your goals? Like, what's coming up for Tayo?
I definitely have a few projects coming out. One specifically, still trying to, you know, make it stretch across this tumultuous time. But my goal always just bringing to the forefront Black beauty, Black emotion, Black stories, and not even just Black, African American, African, I'm Nigerian. I really use all those pieces that inspire me, and, you know, that surround me and make me who I am, bringing those to the forefront because, you know, we live in a world, and especially in an industry, photography and art in general, just an industry that is just so monotonous with fairer skinned, for lack of a better term, fairer skinned individuals, you know, really just monopolizing the genre. And I'm really just trying to be part of that shift. There are a lot of great photographers that are doing this too. And I'm just trying to be part of that paradigm shift of, you know, inclusion and representation of Black and showing us how beautiful we are, how strong we are, how empowered we are, how loving we are. Just all these narratives and all these characteristics that aren't brought to the forefront and that people don't think of when they think of Black people, at least not, at least people outside of our ethnicity, and race. So just trying to change that narrative, change that view, that outlook of us, while creating impactful, empowering art that, you know, transcends my area, my region, transcends everything.
That's strong, man.
Thank you.
So
So it's chipping at that just day by day.
we got more Tayo is talented, period. Do you use any plugins for Photoshop or Lightroom?
No plugins for Lightroom. For Photoshop, I don't have any plugins either. I have different actions that I have made. An action in Photoshop is for retouching. You know, there's certain steps that I need to follow for each photo that are just standard of certain the base parameters in Photoshop for me to begin retouching. So I have actions created in Photoshop that speed up that process and take away all the setup that I have to do because, you know, editing these photos, especially retouching them, can take quite some time. So anything I can do to minimize that and make my time more efficient and easier, I definitely do. But I don't have any other plugins. I know of a couple like Retouching Panel, Imaginomic, different plugins they use that kind of also help with retouching, but I do everything manually.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then how can people stay in touch with you if they want to follow your work or if they want to book you? What do they do to get in touch with you?
So 3 ways: Instagram DM. My Instagram is Tayo Jr. TAYOJR. You could just click my name in this live, go there. My Twitter is Tayo Jr. as well, but the Junior is spelled out. That's TAYOJUNIOR on Twitter. And my email, info@tayojr.com. Reach out to me, and let's connect, let's build. I always am responsive to DMs when people ask questions, when people just have their concerns, share their thoughts. I love hearing from people. I love engaging with people that are art aficionados as well. So don't have to worry about me airing you out, leaving you on red. I'm here to connect. I'm here to help. I'm here to grow, and here to help others grow as well wherever I can.
Okay. Then we have another question. When working with stylists or creatives, what's the collab process like? Do they give you direction, or is it like both ways?
It depends. So on the last project I did, Sistren, that was a collaboration with a hairstylist. I obviously had my vision for the shoot, and she also had hers. So with that, we had to do a little fusion and create a end product that encompassed both of our desires and visions for the project. With other shoots that I just put all the pieces together, all the directions on me. And for most of my shoots, even shoots that I'm hired for, I try to put in my creative input because, like I said, people don't know what they don't know, and sometimes what a client might want, I know will not look good, or I know of a better way to bring their idea to life. So I'm never no, we're not doing this. This is how it's going to be done. I'm a photographer. I'm an artist. No, it's not. That's not the way I work. I try to always accommodate people that I work with and to the end product, because at the end of the day, we all want to create a product that we're willing and happy to share and put out there. And it actually hurts me when I send clients some work, and it didn't really live up to their expectations, and that happens. And just gotta brush it off and kill it next time.
Who would you say is like your inspiration? Like, who inspires you when you do your photography, or just in general? Who's your inspiration to keep pushing forward?
Inspiration. I draw inspiration from so many sources, to be honest, but there are a few photographers I'll name. Well, Joseph Adamu, he's not even he is a photographer, but he's just a director in general. His projects are insane, out of this world. Just his thought process and the way he incorporates certain elements to bring out certain themes in his photos it's just impeccable. There's Oren Florimont, there's Joshua Kissy. I'm trying to get more into video. There's Yemi, my boy, he just checked in. KJ. Sorry, you writing all these people down?
Yeah, I'll keep you. You can keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, just so many artists. So many, I could go on for days. But I think though the one thing that inspires me the most, and that really makes me that I try and incorporate into my work, are African American people and African American cultures and African cultures. Those are the things that really, really inspire me, and I think are very evident in my work.
Got it. And so, I know we only have 10 minutes left, and I don't want IG to cut us off.
Yeah.
But one thing that I love to ask to end all my interviews is, who's being great in your life, right? Like, you need people that are surrounding you. They're always uplifting you, keeping you, pushing you forward, who are influencing you, similar like to people you talked about for your inspiration. But like, who on your mind that you know personally is being great, or who's pushing you or influencing you in any type of way? It could be multiple people.
Number one would have to be my girlfriend. God especially. God first. But people on this earth, definitely my girl. Alexandra, she's helped me in ways I can't even begin to list out. We have to go for a whole another hour. But she's just been a light of inspiration, motivation. It's good having a partner that you're going through life with that, keeps you grounded, keeps you focused. And, once, she catches me, slipping off or doing something the wrong way, is strong enough to check me, because we need people that check us. And, definitely her. She's killing it in her own regard at Comcast as a, corporate communications manager, and seeing her growth in her lane and in her trajectory obviously inspires me to keep going. Like, all right, you going this way? All right, bet. Let me catch up. I like pick up the pace. So yeah, she's great in every sense of the word. Every sense of the word. So shout out to her.
Love it. And then, is there anyone else that's like on your team? Like, are there any other people that like you work with as a photographer in general, or like people you bounce ideas off of, or?
So on my team, I would say no.
Okay.
Actually, I would not. They're definitely, like I said, I have my Rolodex of different creatives in different fields that I like to tap onto a project, to call in a bunch of them, like KJ Folletti, like Yem Skeezy, Yemi, who I said, those are dope videographers. Femi, another dope videographer, because I like to incorporate a video element usually to my projects. And I have makeup artists that I work with. Darian Lois has done the makeup on like the past 10 projects. I literally have her on retainer. There's so many dope makeup artists that I've worked with that whose names are slipping my mind right now. It's annoying. And then there are definitely models that I kind of used to gravitate towards because of their proximity to me here in the DMV area. So when I think of a project, because when I think of something, I like to execute. I don't like to wait. I like to plan, execute, put it on the calendar, get all the pieces together, and get it, right away. So there have definitely been people, I try to keep close to people in the area. But sometimes, I need to branch out to my New York homies and creatives in that area. But yeah, there are definitely a bunch that I wouldn't say are always willing to work with me. But as for my team, it's definitely just me for now, at least.
So the rest of the comments, we got a lot of like, dope page, your pictures are amazing. Tile doing numbers. They said to drop the mic after you talked about your girl. They said Bonnie and Clyde, let you be.
Yeah.
Okay. We do have one more comment. Let's see if we can get this in within the next 5 minutes.
Let's get it.
Says, if a model wants to work with you but doesn't know a concept yet, do you assist or do they need to know first?
Kind of goes back into the question about how a client should reach out to you. When a model doesn't know a concept, there's nothing wrong with that. But you need to have an idea of what you want. There's nothing I can go off of if you're just like, I want to do photos. I want to shoot. Hey, I want to shoot. Where are you located? Those are the types of DMs that I don't really respond to, because it shows right off the bat that someone's really serious about this. They just saw a dope pic and they're reaching out like, oh, it was dope. Oh, I want to shoot. That's not how I really work. So I need to have at least an idea of what you want. If you don't have a concept, you should at least have things that are inspiring the photo shoot that you want to have. Things that kind of represent what you want your photo to look like. With that, then I can definitely assist. I can definitely work, and we can build and formulate a more concrete concept to bring to life. But if you're just expecting me to just, help you get a dope viral shoot, I'm sorry, that's not how it rolls over here. I like to, know that I'm working with someone who's serious about their craft just as much as I'm serious about my craft, and not just trying to like latch on and leech and just have me, just carry. I do like to squat, but I'm not trying to carry anyone.
Well, first of all, I want to thank all you guys for tuning in and
no doubt.
An hour. That's awesome. Thanks.
534. That's crazy. Thanks. I've never done anything over than. I need to take a screenshot. Hold up. I need to screenshot this.
Gotcha.
Bless. This is quite dope.
This is
I was
awesome.
nervous. I was nervous about this, man.
Man, you got a ton of questions, a ton of great energy in here.
This caught me by surprise, but I'm so grateful for the opportunity, so grateful for the platform. You're great in yourself. No pun intended. Like, really, thank you so much, Brittany. Truly appreciate you.
And if you guys want to reach out to Tayo, he gave you the 3 ways. You also
Yes,
see his
yes.
Instagram right here, so feel free to reach out to him. I'm going to post this live after, so you can reference it if you want or look back to it. And really appreciate you for being on this live. And
Thank you.
I'll
Thank
see
you.
you in Antigua, or if I come to DC.
We'll see. Let's make it happen.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye.
All right.
Love.